I am a man with many enemies.
The elevator opens for no one.
The Boston Red Sox.
And plans on making me.
The mayor of Boston. The governor of Massachusetts.
I'm paralyzed into you.
Boston Globe.
And plans on making me.
It's a war.
And plans on making me.
We're going to battle it out.
All sit there.
Everyone looks like everyone.
My dick's so big, doesn't even matter. He's 2 feet tall. And nobody will get in trouble. Now, of course, everybody's going to kill each other after watching. He's going to fucking open his mouth, it'll fall right in.
You're too busy to accept it.
And it is going to be, when it's done, the most successful podcast in the history of mankind.
And we already met.
Listen, there's only 1 minute fan show.
Everyone looks like everyone.
It's right here.
And plans on making me. And plans on making me.
No protection.
JK.
Should put Mutt.
I think the other guy's better than David.
What's up, fellas?
Yeah, Patrick Ford?
No, I like Danny better.
Yeah.
He's never been on here.
Yes, he has. The two guys were on.
Oh, they were on together.
They did a good stream the other night to raise money for veterans.
I saw that. Yeah. No, I like both those guys. I have those guys back if they want to come back. I got to do the show at some point. They had a new one last night. Like
yes.
the Carabas episode.
Yeah, the veterans
I've
fucking
listened
win.
to them. Yeah, I will though. I like those guys. All right. Well, we're back Thursday.
That's good, John. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's good.
A little birdie sent me that has a child and is here giggling.
Yeah, I like that, Danny. Actually,
Dave, I'm just glad that you're still willing to chat with me on the show here after Kirk said I'm his favorite. You know, that means a lot.
Listen, we're a team. He said he'd like to have us both back in, and I do want to address something. I like that you brought this up. You know, I know why Kirk hates that fucking idiot pizza guy from Georgia now. Like, I get it. Like, McFuss Daddy might suck. He might suck.
I love McFuss Daddy.
No, I actually like McFuss Daddy too. He's been chirping us over views and stuff.
Oh, really? I heard about this.
Yeah, so let's address something, Danny. If maybe the CEO of the network stops having on people from the show like a minute after our show ends and then just promotes the hell out of that, maybe our show would have some more views on Monday night. Like, we got totally cucked last Monday night. Whereas Tuesday night, it seems like that's Mount Kirkmore and nothing else goes up on Tuesday. You know, what's Mender's going to do next week? Maybe have I don't know, Steve Robinson on, or are we just going to interview everybody and then don't even tweet our show out? Like, I don't know. Danny, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do think that we may have an issue as far as the lineup is concerned. Look, I'm a fan of. I think Mender's made a good call in saying we should have a regular time slot, and I think that makes a lot of sense. By the way, you're watching this. If you're watching this live, it's Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Check your local listings.
Yeah. Kirk will probably be on with Mender's next. Kirk will be on with Mender's next.
I think here's the look, and I do like McFuss. I think he's
like
hilarious.
him too, but he's being a dick. But that's
he's having some fun. He's having some fun.
I know. I'm honestly joking.
Well,
actually,
in all seriousness,
but
look, you know, he didn't say anything untrue. You know, I mean, we've lost in the ratings the last 3 weeks, and you know, we want to continue to keep those views up.
Last week was Danny. 2 weeks, Danny. No, unfortunately for you, the highest rated show is the one without you in the last 2 weeks.
That's true. That's right. That's a good
Justin
point.
show.
That's a very good point. Well, that was a marvelous episode. I enjoyed it greatly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the issue it's just been, you know, I think happenstance the week before, because that was the Trung episode, and the Manners did a very funny, I thought, watch along of that.
Yep.
The following week was that Blind Mike episode, which I think the problem with that is, and it was obvious, Kirk did, I think what probably a lot of people did, is they watched that. They didn't necessarily watch either one live, but they watched that the next morning.
It's all Tuesday
and by the
morning.
time. Yeah, and by the time they watched, because that was a great episode, but it was of Men of Fandom, but it was an hour and 15 minutes, I believe. So by the time most people probably had time to listen to that Tuesday morning, it was time to put on KMS live at 9:30 Eastern.
I would say that most
shit.
Yeah.
What was that, John?
I would say that
I don't watch any of you losers shows.
That's
yeah.
Well, you're on half.
But listen, go watch the 7 hour. The meeting of the mind, 7 hours. That was
7 hours.
Very
I've actually
television.
made it. I put it on in the background today. I'm 3.5 hours in. No one's cried yet, but I feel like it's coming.
Oh, there was I would say 3 different cries. Like,
right,
good
we
cries.
got to end this before Menners actually cancels this, because we're promoting another network or whatever.
That's true.
But no, let's get into it. Danny, let's kick off like we kick off every Quantum Kirk. What is the date and what is the name of the episode, please, sir?
So this might be the most recent episode we've done so far. However, you'll find a couple little tidbits in here. I thought this was worth skipping forward because once again, I find it sort of interesting to do it seasonally. So we're in the month of November, just a year ago, November 27th, 2022. And the episode is titled, I'll Just Say It.
I'll just say it. Okay, so this is coming literally almost a year. This is right after Thanksgiving. I believe they're recording on a Sunday night of Thanksgiving weekend. Yes, they are, because next day is Cyber Monday. And they're talking about the t-shirts or shirts that they're going to sell. Let's start right off, guys. Why can't KMS do good merch other than why
they all can't do anything without Daddy Kirk telling them what to do, and Kirk doesn't like the merch game, so facto no merch.
It's never been a priority.
Merch has to be something offhand, quick. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You lose no money. Who cares if it doesn't work? A t-shirt.
So this was a big thing during the producer search where people were coming in and having ideas. I'm going to do merch. I'm going to have interns. And this isn't a shot at Coleman or Gus, because I think Coleman thinks Gus is his intern. But a lot of stuff that was talked about for like ideas, none have come to fruition. There's no interns. Like Josh isn't an intern. Josh just goes in on Friday to tell us, whether he banged this weekend or not.
Yeah,
that's all Josh is there for. And then the merch, like we'll see. I guess Cyber Monday's coming, Black Friday's coming.
There was people today.
Do you guys have any faith? I mean, they talked about it a little bit. Do you guys have any faith that something good's going to come out? Unless they come back with the old school, which everyone really just wants. Just give us the old, even the blind Mike drawing. Like you put that back out, I bet you that sells out.
That's like every one of those designs could easily be brought back into the store. It's like you don't lose any money.
Yeah, the vintage ones are what I personally want to see back is the Danny and Bill Ricka shirt.
The way.
Mine has a hole in it from wearing it too much.
Our views aren't dropping.
Putting things into it and taking them out again very rapidly.
What are you talking about? It's inside. Like I was listening to this episode today, and him just getting that shirt, and he's like, "This shirt is actually just appalling."
Yeah. So let's give it a little context here. I don't want to.
Have you seen? Do you have an image of the shirt, John? Can we pop it in? In post if you have.
Yeah,
I went back. I tried to find the YouTube, because this is live on YouTube, which they kind of make
this is the first episode that we've done where it's on YouTube. Yes. This is the first one that we've reviewed.
I couldn't find I only took a cursory look. I didn't find the actual full episode, but I found the best of that week. And there is one with Kirk wearing the shirt and then holding it up, and it's him yelling into the microphone.
Which shirt is that, by the way?
It's the one it's the picture of him yelling, and it says something underneath, but I couldn't see what it said, and I also don't remember.
Was it the Kirk was right shirt? The Kirk was right shirt got the best buzz.
No. This one, if you listen to the episode, what they're saying is they're trashing the shirt. They're saying that people were calling for Cullinane to get fired.
I think it's the KMS ones.
Yeah, I don't know. And then Kirk basically goes, "Well, this isn't Cullinane's fault." To give Kirk a lot of credit, he goes, "This isn't his fault. I suck at merch. I don't have a brain for it. I approve this. It's not like he did this on his own." He goes, "I'd love to yell at Cullinane for this." He goes, "I know everyone wants me to yell at Cullinane for this. But, it's just so it's funny to hear that. And then we have, coming up this week and we're going to see what they get, because we're such a loyal fan base. It's kind of crazy. I think that they don't bleed us for more money on these shirts and hoodies and stuff. You have
the most rabid fan base to tap into, and it's not offensive to sell them a t-shirt that's like a novel t-shirt. Like when they made fun of me for being on a What a Week podcast, make a What a Week shirt for like one day. If it doesn't sell one, you take it off. Like can you imagine showing up to a shirt like and you have some type of niche type of shirt? Like that's the ability you have, really. It just you have to make the design, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, half the quotes. I mean, honestly, half the quotes that we repeat over and over, like where it's our favorite movie, stick half of those on a fucking shirt, and people will buy it in a second. Yeah. So one point on the Cullinane part, Dave. I think you brought that up, and we'll definitely circle back on that because Dave Cullinane definitely gets a lot of heat this episode from various areas, which I thought was interesting, and maybe some foreboding in the episode.
Some foreshadowing. Yes.
Speaking of merch, though, if you think about it, when he first started, the big thing was the link tree. and he came out with that Minifan, the Jordan looking merch, right, which I think sold quite well. And I think that was some of the better stuff that came out, and that was spring or summer, so it wasn't even or summertime, I think, so it wasn't even necessarily a Black Friday type thing.
That's the I thought that's the one I was talking about. It's that like Jordan type merch.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. Yeah, and that was, I mean, I don't know if Cullinane himself designed it, but it came out when his reign as producer began, or tenure.
So they do talk about, we also have a few other things going on this weekend. They're about to go do trivia live in Boston, where Kirk is captaining with Rico, and with Ev is still on the team, I believe, at this point.
Yeah.
We haven't even got the Quigs yet. So even though it's only a year ago, it's crazy how much Team Minahan changed. They ended up winning it without Ev even being on the team, and it's less than a year ago from today. So that's that I found that interesting. They were setting up. They were talking about the pregame at the bar where the famous story comes out where Rico had the CEO of Penn, Jay Snowden, in a headlock. You know, Rico is in full negotiation mode. Like, this is all around the time where Rico quit the company a couple months later. Like, this is the foreshadowing of a lot of stuff coming up in the last year. And this episode really kicks it off. So this is a good call by you, Danny. What else was jumping out at you when you were listening to get it started?
Well, I think, do we have a clip that corresponds with
We do. We have a couple clips from this early part. So, Dave, we have your 5-minute clip, and then Danny, we could go on to yours.
Yeah, so let's do the 5-minute clip, because I just found this interesting, especially considering this guy has been a main part of, not a main part of the show, but he's been a character on the show.
Yeah.
What did you say it to him?
Because I was gonna
work and taking them off, and you would see, but like then
Hold on.
Like if
you were back in,
I remember
the feel for the machine.
I remember the first summer I worked there. I was,
Danny's.
You know me, like I'm a very like socially awkward person in like restaurant or whatever. Like if somebody, like I've said before, if like I ordered a salad and the salad had like a penis on it, I'd pick around it and I wouldn't say anything. Yeah, like,
did you have more of this?
Yes. Like I would not eat it. It's protein. I wouldn't say anything. But like that.
So I found that funny
unless David from Hall is your sir.
Yeah. So I found that funny just because of the name Boner Salad has been such a big deal, especially a couple of weeks ago. And they talked about penises and salad. I think someone called Healthy Debate last week, Tim and Canton, if I'm not mistaken, and asked, and then they literally had a debate on one penis, chopped up penises. So I found this first part very, very funny, Danny.
That's like what could have been the thing that made Boner Salad make his account.
Who knows?
That's what I mean. Like we see later in this show a very big name in the show introduced on this show. So like it can happen, folks. Look at us in the eyes. It could happen.
Yep. And then Danny, what else did you want to transition to? What was your clip that you wanted to get to?
Do we have a clip, boys?
Well, I know it's such a good segue. Well, I do think the one that both you and I stuck out to both of us, Dave, are speaking of apparel, the controversy. Sorry, shout out Steve from Gloucester about apparel, golf apparel in particular, doing golf shirts.
Huge.
And, Blind Mike comes up with a brilliant idea here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
This is the. There we go.
Everyone thinks this merch sucks. Like, why? Like, we get mad about like
these clips.
You're not gonna. If everyone thinks the merch sucks, guess what? The merch sucks. Like, there's no arguing this. You know.
I will say that I think part of the criticism comes from Dave's been on a bit of a cold streak lately, and I think people enjoy piling on.
Oh, lately. Jesus God.
I'm just saying, people like saying like Cullinane fucked this up.
44 years, if we're being honest, given his real age. The coldest streak of all time. And would never text you out of the blue and be like, I have a great merch idea, because I know how repulsed you would be. I would be nauseous by that. I also don't, I don't like, I
texted you something that's very rational too. Like a lot of other shows have different things available to them that we have never been told. They have like all these fucking like premier brands.
Yeah, they don't care about us.
Correct.
Yeah, which is great.
We don't have access to that shit.
Yeah, I would rather not have them care about us enough to deal with the other stuff that happens when they care about you.
Yeah.
Golf shirts, you'd sell a ton. Just the logo on the chest.
I think we would do well with that.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
You nixed it last time.
So every time this comes up, they're just more expensive because they're
that's the thing.
Nike and they're nice material.
Like $80, $90. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Let Riggs rip.
That was your reason. That was.
Yeah, let Riggs. I mean, Riggs has got no shame. God knows. He sells the house of steals for some of these people.
I love that clip simply because it's so topical.
It's so topical. Literally this week on Barstool Radio, Will Compton, Riggs, Kirk was on the rundown this week. Just literally all of them talking about this is coming into golf content. And now Kirk has said, I think like they are going to do something with like golf shirts and stuff like that. So many people in KMS golf. I respect Kirk for not wanting to bleed us, but I mean, if people are willing to pay, fucking put it out there.
And it's a t-shirt.
I'd buy a nice golf shirt. And this whole thing about like who can do the golf brands and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this is beyond that. I mean, this is just pure apparel. I mean, you walk into, pretty much any company that sells any sort of branded merch, they're going to have a golf shirt. Like you don't have to play golf or have anything to do with golf. It's just the type of shirt that people like to wear. So by all means. And Kirk, actually, it's funny. He brings up the idea of I don't think I clipped this, but the idea of a golf tournament. And he said it was one of his goals in 2023 to have a charity golf tournament. Of course, Cullinane says, well, does it have to be for charity? And he's like, yeah.
So hold on. Can I clip that? Can you please play that, John? It's 16:35.
Yeah.
Please play this. This is very important because it's going to go right into my next.
Cullinane hates fucking charity, bro.
All right. Just play this. It's going right into my next topic.
16:35, right?
Yes, sir.
No. All right.
I don't think we'll be doing that. I don't want to cruise anybody. I hate cruises. I wouldn't want to do it.
It seems tough. But I hear mixed reviews. People say if you get the right cruise line and all that, then it's fun.
I think I'd be sick the whole time.
If you get seasick, it can't be good.
Trapped. I don't need that. I don't think we'll be doing that. No. I would like to do a golf tournament in 2023. I know it's another project, but we'll see.
Does it have to be like for a charity thing, or can we just fucking do it?
What?
Does it have to be for charity? Like you got to get a sponsor on every hole. There are people that work like 2 years to build a charity golf tournament.
All right, so we'll hire it out. Riggs do it for us. Riggs will do it for you. Riggs will come play.
Yeah, but that's like a paid thing, right? Everybody who plays in that has to pay like a shit ton of money.
No, we'll pay. We're going to pay them. Of course, it does.
Yeah, but getting sponsorship for every single hole, that's a big endeavor. But
I think Milton's would do it.
Yeah.
So please let me go with this. I think you're seeing the beginning of the end of Dave Cullinane on this episode. Yeah. You're seeing his work ethic is like non-existent. He's like, oh God, are we going to have to actually like do stuff next year, Kirk? Like, are we going to have to do a whole, are we going to have to get sponsors? Like I think you're seeing, and it's happening a lot in this episode. If you listen to it, there are little things where Dave just seems like is trying to do the least amount of stuff as possible. Is that the vibe you got from this at all, Danny? Did that catch your eye?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think, they have callbacks to the Wilbur, and
we're going to hear that.
Yeah, we'll get to that one in a second. But, I think it seems like the death of Dave Cullinane, maybe the impetus for that was these live events. If they just never left the studio and every episode was just in studio Watertown, Cullinane might very well still be the producer. It seems like he just gets tripped up on these things. Or if he had this, crossing the I's, dotting the T person, who would set up a golf tournament and make sure that there's a proper size screen in Plymouth and take care of whatever had to happen at the Wilbur. I think this is an area where either he wasn't properly asking for help, wasn't going to the right places, I was being lazy. I don't know. For some reason there were disconnects that are now very apparent looking back on it.
That right there was huge to me. That I found that jarring when I just heard him say like, "Oh, are we gonna have to like? Well, wouldn't we have to get sponsors?" Like Kirk's like, "Yeah, you fucker. Yes, we'll have to get sponsors." Like,
and Kirk rattled off several. And think about it. It's not going to be that hard. You'd have Buffalo Wild Wings at the time, or Almanove, whatever, Wahlburgers, whatever be going on there. You have enough, Greg Polar's production company would sponsor something, Griffin Lock and Key. You'd have all these sponsors, no problem. I get that it's a lot of work to set up a tournament. And yes, you outsource maybe part of that if you need to. But I bet you there's a Minifan who runs golf tournaments. They've been a couple, at least adjacent to that on the show. Pat Ford probably has his own, tournament company.
Agreed. Like there's like you can easily put something together. Yeah, give something to charity at the end, preferably Nathan's Angels. Close to my
yeah,
heart.
there you go.
But,
sure.
But either way, it's
or have
just,
a couple pizza fund.
yes, I just found it a little jarring to hear him be like, oh Jesus, like something else on my plate. Like I don't know. That was interesting to me to hear back now, like less than a year later, and he's gone.
Yeah, I guarantee you, I didn't think twice about it at the time, but it's
Me
sort
neither.
of weird to look back on. Like how weird, like if my boss was like, "Hey, we're gonna put together a charity golf tournament next year," I'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" Like think about all the other bullshit I have to
That's
do.
how
Like
the Barcelona Invitational or whatever it is basically started. Like, and it's a big success now. It's a moneymaker for the company too.
Yeah,
and it's
so
right, exactly. That's a great point, John. They have the resources at the company. This is one of the things that they do. And that's one area where you wouldn't have to, where Cullinane can basically make a phone call and say, "Hey, look, I need help with this," and he'd probably have 5 people helping him at Barstool.
It's just a constant problem on this show to be ambitious to go make money because everyone's afraid to go ask Kirk to do it, and it's a bad.
Yeah, but this was Kirk's idea. So I just
yeah,
found it
no,
interesting.
but I'm just saying,
I
like,
found it interesting to like
instinctual
reaction
idea.
to it.
Yeah, no, you're right too. It's like this is the beginning of the end for Cullinane. For sure, you could hear it in his voice. He has he doesn't care about the fans or anything.
And if memory serves, didn't our friend of the show, Beyond Average Mick, bring this up in studio a couple weeks ago and get slapped down for the golf tournament idea?
Yeah,
I think Kirk's been talking about it for a little bit now, though. Like this is something Kirk brought up a couple times, even during the producer search, that he said he'd want to do next year. I think he said he wanted to do a race again, but I don't think he wants to do the Colleen Prichter thing, just because that's like a Jerry. Sorry, I fucked up her name. I apologize for that. Because of the Jerry affiliation, and I think he said he wants to do like a golf tournament. So, but I mean, maybe Mick brought it up, and Kirk just anything Mick says, Kirk just says you're a fucking idiot. So that could just be a natural reaction, Danny. That could just be like a reflex. A doctor hits you, like you move your elbow like that. Like shit like that. It's just a natural reflex.
Like what a dumbass idea, Mick. Oh, hey, let's have a golf tournament. Great idea.
He is randomly against it though. Like he'll be sometimes for it, sometimes against it. He changes his mind a lot on that because everyone calls in and asks.
Yeah, I think the thought of spending more time with the Minifans probably
It's a horrible idea. Really,
that may be part of it. But if it culminates in a live show, which he obviously enjoys doing, I think he'd need to choose his foursome, which we already knew is his dad, Bruce Springsteen, and
no, him. Steve from Gloucester, Cullinane, and John Peltier.
I like that.
That's Kirk's in hell foursome right there.
His caddy's John Stewart.
Yeah, Jesus.
Chubb standing.
All right, so a couple other things that were talked about on this episode before we get into one of the big clips that I want to play is. Kirk was talking about his summer job at Dunkin Donuts. Okay, so this caught my attention, Danny, because I'm about 4 years younger than Kirk, 4 or 5 years younger, and he said something that I don't think a lot of people that are Montante just found out that Cheers is Frasier and Spears Cheers spinoff. So I think a lot of the younger listeners probably think we're old as shit for saying this. Kirk's first summer job at Dunkin', he said he made $3.15 an hour. And he's not exaggerating. I remember my first job was at Rojax in 1994. I was making $4.25 an hour. And he said he got something like an $80 check and he thought he was on top of the world. And I vividly remember getting $70, $80 checks and being I'm rich. Danny, what was your hourly wage, your first job? It's kind of crazy how high minimum wage has gotten in just the last 20 to 25 years. It moved $2 in 50 years. And now it's up to 15 or 16, I want to say, or at least 14, I think, in the States.
Yeah, and you see especially a lot of the fast food chains advertising more than that just to get people to come in and work there. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, my very first job was selling newspapers outside my church. So I basically just took a commission on that. So that could be fairly lucrative for a couple hours of work. Instead of a paper boy like a schmuck having to bike around and deliver papers, I just stood there and people came up and bought them for me, and the priest, would put in a good word for me from the pulpit, and people come out and buy my papers.
He put something in you from the pulpit.
I did. I paid my dues. I was also the church landscaper. Church landscaper. I think I was getting paid about $8 an hour for that. So.
Plus, that's highfalutin. Like I said, my first job was bagging groceries, $4.25 an hour. Now gas was 89 cents. You know,
Yeah.
rent. Like I remember my first apartment. I moved out of my house in like 1999. I was like 19 years old. I paid $500 a month for rent for like a 3-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So like, like when people say like, "Oh, how do you survive on 4?" It's like everything's relative. And
Totally
now
different.
I think like the stuff that costs us is going even above like what pay raises are. I mean, it's kind of crazy like where everything is in just like 20 to 25 short years. I just found it interesting, Kirk bringing that up. That jogged a memory of mine.
Well, it is crazy, and yeah, you look at this on a curve because I remember talking to my parents growing up in the 50s, 60s, 70s about milk was 5 cents and this kind of shit, and then back their parents, my grandparents in 1925, for a nickel, my grandfather used to say you can get a drink for a nickel, you get drunk for a quarter, just totally different standards back then and a sliding scale. But Dave, I had a question for you as a incredible, upstanding member of the service industry. Where do you come down on the Dunkin Donuts tipping issue that Cullinane brought up?
I mean, so I want to transition to this. This is one of the Cullinane moments where I think Blind Mike and Kirk are getting annoyed with him, like they feel like he's doing bits because he starts going crazy. I'll explain to everybody. He gets really, really mad at the guy in front of him tipping $20 to his Dunkin Donuts counter lady. I guess it's the holiday season. It's not quite Christmas, but Cullinane loses his mind, calling him an asshole because now it makes the rest of the people in line look bad for not just not tipping. Like Blind Mike goes, "Well, you can leave $1 or $2. I'm sure she wouldn't hate you," but he's like, "No, because we're not leaving 20." So I'll come down on this. Listen, I do tip like the guy who pumps my gas. I go to the same gas station. Like I at Christmas time, I give him like a good amount. If you have a Dunkin Donuts lady that you go see every day at Christmas time, it's totally cool to leave, whatever. She does not expect it from everybody in line because this guy left $20. Like that's calling like
she's happy with the $20.
100%. That made her day. And Cullinane's over here calling that guy an asshole. It was unbelievable.
It did feel kind of forced.
It almost felt like there's no way he really thinks that. Like I agree with Kirk and Blind Mike. Like, I just don't believe he really thought that. I think he was doing like a bit.
And then once again, I think he's easily swayed because by the end of the episode, he's saying, "Oh yeah, maybe I should throw the Dunkin Donuts lady some tips. I'd much rather tip her than my mailman." What? I mean, come on. I mean, your mailman's out there, rain, snow, sleet, or hail. He's bringing stuff to you every day, and you'd rather tip the Dunkin Donuts lady
I'm not
who you may see once in a while. I don't know.
So where Cullinane lost the plot though is that like it's not that he was saying. Like, we can argue whether you should be tipping a Dunkin Donuts lady. I have no issue with that. Like, if you don't, you don't. I think what Cullinane was calling the guy who did an asshole is unbelievable. Like, that's
misguided
unbelievable.
hatred.
Like, yeah, misguided hatred. Good call with that, dude. Yeah, I found it like made up. I found it very bitish. But
no, I do find it interesting. I do find it interesting too because these days I order a lot of stuff on apps, and whether it's food at various places, that kind of thing. Obviously no shortage of that, but there's no option on the Dunkin Donuts app to tip. And I'm almost always ordering on the app and then sometimes walking in depending on the location, or I'm going through the drive-through, but I've already paid, signed, sealed, delivered, just tell them my name, got the food, and I'm off. There's no cash transaction happening. And that was Kirk's point. He's like, I never carry cash. So if it doesn't give me the option to add it on the pad, like if you put it on the pad, I'm probably going to type something in because I feel like an asshole if I type 0%. If it says 5, 10, 20 or whatever, whereas if it's on an app and there's no option to do so, I mean, I'm probably not leaving a tip. Maybe Christmas time, if I'm feeling a little extra jolly and I'm doing the walk in to pick up and the lady maybe hooked me up with a larger order, then sure, I'll leave a couple bucks if I have some on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one. And look, and I realize this is a debate that goes on every year and it's, exhausting, but it did feel very forced. The fact that he brought it up that early in the show, like it's like he was almost like
waiting to do a bit. Yeah,
he wanted to do the bit to almost avoid the what's next. Like he wanted to get something out there and kind of hope that maybe they'd run with something for like an hour and he'd kind of be off the hook, and it didn't pan out that way.
Yeah. All right. So I got a couple of things, Danny, but I'll let you drive the train here for a little bit. What else did you have that you wanted to bring up?
I thought there was a few little tidbits in here. I know a couple that you're going to bring up. A couple mentions of Stella Blue coffee.
Yep, the
we're
first
kind of
that it
forced
just
in there.
started. It forced
Yep,
in there.
that
yeah,
was
for
that was
sure.
a rather new thing. I thought, and we'll have to follow up with our friend Dale on on what
Golden
was
ticket. I
communicated
heard
to
that
him.
too.
Yeah, that they
Yeah.
saved him a seat at trivia for like
At trivia.
that's the event they decided to honor the golden ticket at. Like
That was
no, we're
before
gonna
he got it taken off him, though. Like I retweeted him and said he was part of GB, and Kirk kicked him off the golden.
so that happened after this. I thought that was like
I thought it was already before, and then they let him back in.
Not immediately at all. No, not
But
at
it was
all.
funny. This wasn't even like, oh, Dale asked to be there and we were saving him a seat. It was like, hey, we're, by the way,
Have you
good
talked
luck
to
to
the
Dale.
golden ticket guy? Yeah.
Dale
we did
is
talk to
actually
Dale
still,
before.
he's currently still deployed at the moment. So, very convenient.
Yeah.
I
Happy
feel like-
Veterans Day, Dale.
yeah. Kirk may have set that up. Figured, hey, look, if the guy stays in Afghanistan, he never has to show up to a show. I don't know.
I hear they're
But,
doing a drive-through show out there, so keep your fingers crossed, Dale.
That's true. That's true. A USO show. That would be great.
Artie Lang did it.
The Bob Hope tour. Kirk once again mentions that he's not a boat guy, and he has no desire to go on a cruise. Blind Mike sort of tries to pitch him on a little bit, and that doesn't go well.
Blind Mike tries to get him to go on a boat with his stepdad, Kevin, I believe.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. And Kirk
That's
goes,
right.
no. Kirk just goes, no, that's not happening.
And think about it.
But then
Alba's
Kirk,
poor dad.
Go ahead.
Alba's poor dad is sitting there like he's wanted to go on the boat forever, and just no offer. Just this sort of empty offer. Oh yeah, you can come on the boat sometime. Never follows up. Yet he's offering Kirk this boat ride, and Kirk wants nothing to do with it.
Blind Mike's
Nothing to do with it.
banging Alba.
Well, that's Nipples, John. That's Nipples, John. Relax.
Nipples, who calls into this episode, by the way.
The
Yes, he
funniest
does.
story.
Yep.
The funniest story is how Blind Mike blocked BA because BA said Alba has big Albanian feet.
And now they're buds.
And now they're buds.
Yep. All right.
So there were.
Danny, what else?
Speaking of calls, there was one that I'm going to mention that I thought was. I actually got fooled by the description. It says Jeff D. Lowe calls in several times with trivia questions. Of course, that wasn't actually Jeff D. Lowe. It was our friend Rico imitating Jeff D. Lowe. But I think this was sort of the beginning of the budding friendship there.
Nailed it. Nailed it, Danny. I have that written down. Fantastic. Go with that thought. That was my next segment.
And you can hear the love for Jeff D. Lowe. You can hear how he really he's always offering Cullinane help, whereas he didn't really talk to Steve very much. So I think he's feeling welcomed into the trust tree. But also Rico, this is, I think, again, as you mentioned, this is leading up to his contract negotiation or whatever. But a lot of Rico calls in this episode, and I kind of didn't think that was happening this much a year ago, but it sure was.
Oh no, it certainly was. If you remember, Rico left in January, and that's when they came out with the Captain Con stuff, because January 1st, the week before January 1st, he told he quit. They did the last episode of Pick'em. It was that whole thing. He's supposed to go to Odyssey. He never had to deal with Odyssey. Right. And then everyone finds out about the Captain Cons, but Dave and Big Cat still bring him back. So at this point, if you remember correctly, Kirk then surmises when he's in his little tip with Rico over the Captain Cons, he goes, was Rico calling so much at the end? So he had another vehicle to pitch during contract negotiations with Dave and Dan. So that was
I forgot about that. Good pull, Dave. Yeah.
At this point, Danny, he's calling a lot. Like he is calling a lot. And him and Kirk are, they're on the trivia team together and they're talking every day. And I think if Kirk listens to this at all, like he'll tell you, I think he mentions it a lot. He was talking to Rico on the phone about the contract. I mean, they joke about it now, but I think they were talking on the phone, if not daily, at least 3 to 4 times a week. That Rico was calling and venting, and it was in a bad place.
Kirk famously part of that contract, which horribly blew up, and Carabas's contract, which
horribly blew up.
Negotiator.
Kirk should not be your agent.
Minifan's not good at lists. Kirk Minahan not good at contracts. You've accepted.
Yeah. Unless it's its own. Yeah, his own.
He's famously his own agent, but yeah.
So I think Danny, like he was definitely calling a lot during this. And I want to continue with what you said. A great call. I also think that this is the beginning of Jeff D. Lowe and Kirk becoming really, really good friends. And Jeff D. Lowe listening every day. I think before this, I'm not sure Jeff is as big as Minifan. I'll say it. No way he's as big a Minifan as he is now. He probably listens here and there. But I think after this Boston show, like they hung out, they had dinner, they went out with each other. I think they became friends. And I think Jeff really started listening. and you started seeing a change like on Twitter and everything of Jeff D. Lowe commenting on Kirk's show a lot. And I think this is like the beginning of it.
The beginning of a beautiful friendship. Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, because I think this live show, because you know, as he mentions, this is the House of Blues is the actual event, right? And the Cheeky Monkey is the bar. Everybody was hanging out, and you're right.
Watching the World Cup.
Yeah, a lot came out of that evening, and I think you're right. They started to spend more time together in person, and I think a lot came from that.
And I think Jeff just started listening to the show like way more religiously. Not that he didn't listen before, but maybe he was a guy like, you know, like Big Cat is. Like, I don't think Big Cat listens to every episode. Big Cat, I think, probably is one of the guys who maybe checks in like once a week or sees clips and things like that. You know, and I think Jeff D. Lowe was like that. And I think he started actually like, all right, I have to listen to this like every fucking day now.
He might even be a re-listener. He might listen multiple times for all we know.
I'd love to have Jeff D. Lowe on here. I'd love to know what Jeff D. Lowe's favorite like old episode is and review that with him. That'd be his DMs are closed. I know that was John. You mentioned that in the chat today. I think that'd be cool. We'll see. He's a busy guy.
Little bastard, and then put it on a Monday night after our show. Little fuck.
Yeah, that's probably what Mender's gonna do. Yeah, Mender's like, oh, great idea.
Yeah,
kid, my story.
He's British now.
Yeah.
I
fucked it up.
We'll have a spot of tea with Jeff D.
We're not all amazing like at Australian accents like you, Danny. It's just we're tough.
Okay, so I got a couple more things. This episode's only an hour and a half, so I don't think we have to like go super long with this one. There's one more big thing that I have, and I was shocked to my core when I heard it. If you listen, we're gonna play the phone call. If you listen, he doesn't space it out the way he does now. They don't know his name, but it's definitely in his area. If I'm not mistaken, now Minifans, you can come out of the woodwork, but I think this is the first call of the legendary Kevin. And it shocked me when I was re-listening to this today.
I was so happy to hear this. This was good.
Listen, there's guys out there like this Montante punk and BA saying this show is worthless, but we're out here digging up artifacts like this fucking call right here, because we did not pick this episode because of it. And what do we find?
Nope.
Kevin's rookie card. Kevin's fucking rookie card.
Right? Yep.
Rookie card, George Bush, 9/11.
Yeah, we did like a what do you call it?
There. Some people.
Go. I'm gonna make you say it now. Go ahead.
No, it was bad. I was gonna. It's what the fuck do you call it when you find an old pack of baseball cards and open them? Oh fuck!
The place was not rocking out as much as they usually.
No, I heard a brief thing about 10 minutes ago, and that was it. They load up, Dave? They're loaded up. All right. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Famous.
I have two questions for Blind Mike.
He's here.
First question. How horny does Mrs. Gary get on a regular basis?
Okay.
You know?
Well, hold on. Okay. It's a fair question.
Listen, this is going to be a rare one that I stop, but Kirk immediately is like, now hold on.
Yeah. Well, I think Kirk immediately senses like, I've got something here. Like, I've got something here. But let's break this down before you go to the second part. Like, right, guys, how different is it than when he calls in now? When like you instantly recognize the pauses that he has. He even sounds a little bit like he doesn't know when to go, what to say. Right? Are you guys catching that at all?
He sounds a little nervous.
It's
nervous.
Even like,
you hear him almost giggling.
At the end of his first question working, we'll hear he has this little giggle, and it's like he's like, "Oh my god, it worked!"
Yeah, it worked.
He breaks his first one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Horny, Mike. Does your mom get on a regular?
Kirk loves talking about horny, Gary.
A standard 1 to 10 scale.
Well, I'm saying also like just give me a standard. Like I would say Thanksgiving is a weird day. Like maybe the day after, like 3 p.m. just a regular time. How horny would she be? 1, we're talking, sandpaper. 10, we're talking, the river is flowing.
I would think 4, frankly. I'm guessing
that's fairly, okay, that's good. Just a moist, something.
I don't think she's
on.
a deviant at all hours of the day.
Sure. Yeah, she's not, rubbing herself in front of you at the dinner table. I don't think, is she?
Right. No, that's
good.
my knowledge anyway.
That's good. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, there you go. 4. Mike says 4.
Second question.
Pleased with himself.
Yeah, Mike calls him out. He's like, he's pleased with himself.
This is crazy to rehear this. This is crazy. This is awesome.
Legend.
What's that?
How often does Alba get diarrhea on a regular basis after a round of Mamma Mia's?
Okay, hold on. So again, a regular basis, Mike. I would guess not often though.
Well, after Mamma Mia specifically, we've only had it together once,
and everything was fine, to your knowledge.
To my knowledge. And
yeah, I mean,
we
she's not
share one bathroom.
So. I mean, she's going to broadcast that, I wouldn't think.
No, but again, we're a one-bathroom apartment. I would probably have some idea what was going on.
So not regular.
No, irregular.
So you can tell Kevin's getting the flow of it. He's getting, like, John, you nailed it. It's a rookie card. Like, that's his first season. Yeah, it's awesome.
It is.
Danny?
It really is.
So is it just me, or does he sound a little less special than he usually?
Yes, he doesn't. He sounds almost normal.
Almost normal. That's him.
It's like he's played that, which is great. I mean, obviously it works. And, I was thinking about Kevin the other day. This is just the things I think about. And I actually, it's one of those things where early on, I found these funny, but not as hilarious as I do now. I think what's impressive at this point is, his longevity, like the fact he's kept this up.
Yep.
And yeah, they're all like kind of sexual questions, whatever, but they're not just like straight up. Well, okay, but they're just
overboard.
They're all over the top, but in a way you just don't know what's coming.
And then the way that he asks them though too, it's like the way he goes
the delivery
for the time being, or like how many times, like he always throw that in there. Yeah, but go ahead, Danny, continue.
But I'm just thinking about like how much pressure he must feel, because now Kirk is like disappointed if he doesn't call in. I mean, the other morning
he has a bad
there
call.
was a time the show was mad at him, like he went overboard with somebody, and
hold on, they weren't mad.
No,
they just go whoa, and then Kirk's like, hey, call back, like it's okay, like we're over it. It was when he had Alex Reamer on, and Kevin used the F word.
Yeah, yes. They had to cut something.
Which Kirk has talked about bringing back now.
Yeah.
So, like, no offense. Like, maybe Kevin was a visionary.
Rookie card, boys. Rookie card.
But I also, Danny, what I want to give him credit for is not breaking. As far as I know, no one knows who he is. He's never come up to anyone at a live show. Mm-hmm. He's never, that's got to be hard, because, like, if he just whispered in your ear, or did the voice and was like, I'm Kevin, people would lose their fucking minds. It'd be like Steve's a liar guy, like on stage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, people could not keep that a secret.
I'll never dox who the person is, but someone once DM'd me and I was about to go on the show for the producer search, and they said, if I were to call in and ask a couple questions, is it okay if I asked you it? And it was a burner account I've interacted with in the past, and I was like, wait, are you Kevin? And then he said what he was going to do, and then never did it that episode I was on, and I was like, did I just get played by some fans?
Yeah, it's Booby Watcher 69, John.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that was that, or like he just, like, I don't know, maybe he was like, actually fuck John from Scranton. But yeah, I was shocked.
No, yeah. So Danny, I'm with you. I'm impressed with the longevity. He's, to my opinion, other than Trump doesn't call regularly. I think we're getting to a point where Kevin's the longest running, like,
he's a caller. He's also a caller that, like, when you're on that show, you want to get a Kevin call, and you want him to be like, I have 5 questions for John from Screen. You're like, fucking, I'm going to be on
the episode that I did with where Danny had COVID, where I went in and it was me and Blind Mike.
Yeah.
He called in. I was crying, fucking laughing.
Yeah, that was the
month. Did he ask you a question? Because he called when you and I went in too, but he didn't ask either one of us a question.
He didn't ask either one of us. He asked a question of Blind Mike, and then he asked a question about, I want to say it was the Julie one. I want to say that was the day that he made like Julie sob.
He doesn't let some regular Joe off the street get a Kevin.
Yeah, he's not gonna be like Daver from Hall.
Is it weird to say Kevin kind of does his research? Like he makes sure his bit is backed a little bit so that he just not throwing shots out there. I mean, look what he did for Rico.
But yeah, John, you're 100% correct. When, like, I heard this voice come in on that phone call,
real hard to figure that one out, huh, John?
Yeah, when I heard his voice come in on the phone call, I instantly started to fucking giggle.
There's one more voice I heard in this show that kind of stunned me. A phone call. I will maybe play it later, but I was stunned to hear this last phone call.
I don't know. This sounds like the time.
If you want,
go ahead, run it now. Yeah, run it now.
Close the show. You know me; I'm always trying to squeeze my J bits in here.
It was an email to me a day later. day later, and it had really nothing to do with the actual event. It was about your personal situation.
This is
I
great,
annoyed
though.
Yeah, you were annoyed.
All right, take the next call. Shut up. Take the next call, please.
Kirk's already done with calling.
So annoying. Good evening. The one, the only Kirk. We still down for penis talk? I just want to clear something up real quick.
Sure.
You once upon a time, I don't know if you recall this, but you asked my father in the morning when you woke him up if he still woke up with a heart on.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Was your father? You live with your father? I'm surprised to hear.
Dare I say I'm going to pause again? Jay just said, "Can we still talk about penis talk?" As if they were having the conversation with his father almost a year and 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
This.
You're not surprised to hear that. You know the deal. The thing is, you just talked about the vein thing. It was kind of the same deal with him.
Oh, is that right?
That's why I'm here, because he couldn't have.
Oh,
kids.
sure. Yeah. Oh, what a wonderful. Thank God for science.
I want to clear one thing up with Mike. Mike, I'm the guy that was throwing the balls at you the day you got almost arrested.
You son of a bitch.
I was the only Minifan that showed up.
Are you happy that things got clear? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
J calls are primo. I don't care what anyone says. Fuck you.
Well, that one was actually pretty good, and I will say this: that we've actually reviewed the Jay's dad call on this show, so that was funny to hear him then bring that up as well.
You woke me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still get erections? We were calling people at that time. Like, it's great. That is a look back at what we've done in the past. A nice Jay checking back in on a topic we've had.
On a topic, yeah. All right, Danny, do you have anything else? The Kevin thing was the big reveal to me in this episode. And then, we didn't play, Danny, the Wilbur clip? Cullinane and the Wilbur?
Yeah, that was actually the one I think I referred to.
Yeah, what's that timestamp? Because this one, the cockiness in this is just
this is brilliant. We got to end the show with this. Yeah,
that I believe is the 2014.
This sounds like I'm talking about myself in this. 2014. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Feels that way.
Like not
nice
verb if I have to do it.
Just about the scheduling around the live
he's a very tense person about stuff like that. I've seen. He's very worried.
That.
I that's why I think he does a good job with the trivia. Whereas, I'm like, he's worried about us for the run through beforehand. And I'm like, well, just call me over if I have to do it during the show. It's next door. It'll take 2 minutes. I'll do the run through and I'll come back. I'm not. It's actually fun and not fun. I don't have very fun, but it's whatever it is. To like do one of these live shows and have no responsibility.
Right.
But none.
It's a nice fit.
I'm the star. I'm the center of the whole thing. But I can do my live show, fuck around there. It's whatever fuck ups. It's not my issue at all. Not my issue at all. Whereas the Wilbur and Maine and
it's kind of like that because Dave takes the reins and you can roll.
Correct. Exactly right. Exactly.
And it goes flawless every time.
Every single time. Yeah. So I suspect it'll be, I'm going to take a guess.
The cockiness, man.
The cockiness, dude. He's so like, I'm telling you, this is where Dave thought, like, I can coast on this job. Like, we're good. I've done this now. Like, I don't, like, I'm a Cullinane guy. It's just funny to hear him be like, and it goes flawless. And now, like, 6 months later, he literally lost his job because, TV the size of our phone.
It's why I semi-panicked when the producer search was going on and I realized every candidate couldn't upload the episode. And I'm like, what happens if something actually goes wrong? Like, what are you guys going to do then? So it's like Dave, I like his cockiness beforehand, but we saw what happened to Dave.
Yeah, we saw what happened. So
30,000.
Thoughts on that to end this, Danny?
Hey, it makes me a little sad. I'm
a little bit guy too. Yeah, me too. I'm a Cullinane guy. It's
just like, I really think, just looking back, if he had that, crossing the T's, dotting the I's person or somebody to help him out, and here's the part that confused me a little about this episode. And Dave, you probably have more memory of this than I do, or know more about it. Some of the behind the barstool scene stuff. They kept talking about like who he like it came up with a caller brought it up, and then who he interacted with at the Wilbur and which barstool person was it, and there was a lot of back and forth about that, and it seemed like he was so territorial about not letting people help him. And I think that
That's
just
why
sort
you
of
didn't want
became
interns.
Scares me like any producer. Like it scares me when they don't want help. That's bad.
There's just too much to do. It's like I said, if they just stayed in the studio 24/7, he'd probably be fine, still be here because he would piss off Kirk at times with takes like the Dunkin Donuts thing, but not enough for Kirk to be like, you're done. You know, Fire Cullinane at this point was still a joke.
Yes,
and a couple months
agreed.
later, it wasn't a joke anymore.
It was not a
talk
joke.
about the turn on Cullinane, or like the early turn on Cullinane, like when the same people that were the Cully got like, I was the biggest Cully guy back in look, I made that graphic. Probably a better King Cully graphic than Cully made. And like,
beautiful.
It is. Thank you. Shout out me. But like all the boys turned on Cully because he turned on everybody. It seemed like everybody.
I did get the sense that he was done with the Minifans at this point too. Like he was over
2022.
over it.
Yeah.
Over
Which
it. Yep.
how much of that was just was he actually sick of them, or was he too busy? I mean,
I
never quite
busy
that
doing what?
I don't know. I'm
Danny,
I'm still trying to defend the
assumption.
guy.
I do too, Danny, but I definitely think that he was doing side job. Like he was going in there at 6 a.m. and doing what until 9 or 9:30 that Kirk got there. Like I'm sorry.
Do you believe Kirk?
Coleman walks in at like 8:45.
Yeah, but he has Gus.
Yeah.
I know Coleman works late night. He messaged me at 3 a.m. once looking for a logo.
Yeah, he seems more like a night owl type guy.
Yeah.
I think it's he gets his shit done. I think for the most part. But do you believe Kirk when he says that if Cully had asked to play the hits, that he would have said yes? Because didn't he ask multiple times and Kirk said no? Am I wrong?
No, Kirk said no in the beginning, and then he goes, "You could do what you want," but he made it seem like in the Kirk way, where if something goes wrong on this show and your dumbass is playing the hits in the morning, I'm going to murder you.
I know this is Kirk's show,
So
but
that's why he didn't do it, Danny.
Dude, you're coming in as Dave Cullinane, and you're not just being like, dude, if you say I can't play the hits, what do you think the Minifans got me here for? Like the hits got him there. So it's like, that's obviously going to be part of what I'm going to do here is the hits.
Well, how much fun he's having doing it now?
I always thought the hits and stuff could be side content. Like he should have done more side content.
It's the definition of side content.
He's done before 7 a.m. He's done before Coleman gets out of bed. I mean, it's not like
Danny, like this stuff.
And that's not a shot at Coleman. I mean,
hold on. Let me finish. This stuff that he's doing now with like John Pelletier and like doing like this is all stuff he could have been doing while he was producer, and he was just scared to piss Kirk off, plain and simple.
Yes.
He's scared to piss him off.
But he pissed Kirk off all the time. Like
I know.
It's different.
I don't know.
The throw ride thing right off the bat scared him because it's Cullinane's an initiative and Kirk calling him a rat for it. That's
that was also really dumb.
That's because Cullinane's a rat, dude. Some good producers are rats. They have to be.
Yeah.
But
it takes one to know one, John.
Exactly. It scared him then to ever do it again, though. I mean, Kirk was talking about, like, I don't trust this guy a week into his job. Like, that's tough. Like, there's nothing worse than your boss.
That is true. Actually, that would be a good one to review soon because you're right. That was tough. And that was something that he took a risk on that didn't have a good payoff, and it just was a bad idea. It was bad instincts, terrible idea. It was just all around pretty shitty. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, boys, that's all I got for this episode. It's pretty late. I'm gonna call it right. You guys got anything else?
Nope. I told you to name this kid after this show though today. I'm sorry, kind of, but I think it would be a good name.
Quantum from Hull. Quantum K from Hull.
Yeah.
It's a powerful name.
All right, boys.
We'll see you later.
Boys. That's gonna be it for me. We'll see you later. Have a good one,
guys.
Me.